are here and we've got this all pulled up. I can go ahead and get us started. Remind me which school you guys are and what level this is at.
We are Southeast Missouri. I want to
Nice.
say this is like a 2.8 rim.
Okay.
We've got like some of us are gold, some of us are diamonds, some of us are in plat.
Sure.
So it's just
Absolutely. Absolutely. Not a problem. Okay, so you guys are rolling out here, and it looks like you're going to roll out here on Brawl. Is Brawl a comp that you play a lot of? Obviously, this is a Brawl map here, University, but is that normal for you, or is this a, hey, we're doing it because it's University?
this is pretty much the comp we'll run. We'll make a couple adjustments. We do run like that 6-man or Talon dive or whatever it's called every
Sure.
once in a while, but primarily a brawl.
No problem. No problem. Then let's get into this. So you guys are going to roll out. You're on blue here. You didn't go with any sort of sim rollout, which is fine. And something's immediately wrong here because we look at this and your Reinhardt is just not fun. Like, what is this? Smurf? Smurf is
Yeah,
Smurf
yeah,
here? Yeah.
yeah,
Where's my pin, buddy? Where's my pin?
yeah. Shows on
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
Mm.
So the reason I want my pen is because we're going to fight over this room to start. This is generally what's going to happen, and this is actually pretty important because if you can get your Reinhardt in here and you can sort of get control, if you get control of this room and then you're able to leave like a say your Hanzo back here, something along those lines, you're now going to be in a situation where if they go to point, they're getting shot at from here and they're getting pressured, threatened from here, and the team with more angles tends to win. Would you guys want to be standing on point if they had control of that room and had control of right here?
Nope.
No.
So you getting here first is actually kind of important, but that's okay. Um, or they could just gift this to you. Sure, works for me. It's okay. And then Hans is going to double back for the angle. We like it. Works just fine for us. We're set here. And you guys have a bit of a situation here where you look at the two comps and, okay, you might be thinking to yourselves, hey, we've got a choke. This is, maybe we don't want to push through this choke. Point's not going to unlock yet. That's perfectly fine. And we're also okay with the poke situation. We have the Hanzo who can potentially get picks. But you guys also have a Mei wall to use here. And I'm a little surprised that we haven't already seen that come out. Because I look at this and, yeah, I would be perfectly fine, I guess, with a thought of, hey, they're sort of going to push through our choke, or we don't want to push through a choke, or something like that. But I can hit a Maywall pretty easily here and split this team, right? Like, I can at the very least keep the McCree out, make the McCree circle, and my was just going to hop up when we hit that Maywall on top of this and shoot fish in a barrel. And even if we just keep like one person out or two people out, that's going to work pretty well for us, right? Like, that is the big thing that our comp has over their comp, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, what's our usual thought, Nodlin, on when we go for Maywalls when we're playing Brawl v Brawl?
I usually try to get them at choke points. I think if you look at my point of view, and you can kind of see it from here, it looks like I'm looking for one on the Reaper.
Okay. Okay. So you're going for them at choke points, and talk to me about that. Why do you want? What's a choke point get you? You mean like the perfect choke point? Like if you could get a wall on this thing that split them, like Reinhardt in, 5 people out, or 2 people in, 4 people out, something like that is what you want?
Yeah, it just makes it easier, I think, to get a clear target for the whole team to go on.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. A 7 out of 10 wall is better than a 10 out of 10 wall. What do you think I mean by that?
I think it's better to throw like a good wall sooner than to hold it and try to look for a perfect wall.
Right. A reasonably good wall that separates someone or even separates just one, like if you can get one person on your side of the wall, 5 person on the other side of the wall, that's the dream. But even just keeping 1 or 2 people on the other side of the wall and not keeping them there, just having a situation where, okay, my McCree is going to have to walk around over here before he can contribute, and that's going to take him a couple seconds, is a plenty good enough wall. And the reason for that is what's going to happen if you hit even a slightly good wall in this team? A wall that gets you Reinhardt, a wall that gets you Reinhardt, D.Va, and BAP, a wall that just keeps out Reaper. What's going to happen when you hit that wall? What is your team going to do?
there's a lot less pressure for us to rotate, so we can just kind of W key into them.
You're going to push hard. Exactly. As soon as your wall goes up, the flag for your team of our wall went up, it got anything. And I mean anything. And you guys are just going to W at this team, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I actually want you to hit this pretty early. We could say, oh no, our poke is fine. We can afford to go it slow. I don't really want to take it that slow against this McCree Reaper team. I'm too afraid that the Reaper is going to get a bunch of value, and my Diva's DM is only going to last so long against this Reaper. I'd actually like to make this brawl happen pretty quickly. So I'd really like to already have a wall here. We'll do a quick rewind. Like, I don't know exactly where you are here. Here, I could have pretty comfortably, easily walked up to here. My Reinhardt recognizes what we're doing. Could have easily pushed this, and I could easily have hit a wall that's just literally right here. And are all these guys going to get around it? Is Bap going to hop over the wall? Is Lucio going to wall ride over or around the wall? Yes, but even a little bit of a delay there, plus a little bit of the delay in the McCree, is absolutely worth hitting that wall for. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then when that happens, I want all of the rest of us to push hard and press W. So that's what I'd like to see happen. That's not quite what we're doing here. We're taking a poke battle. Our Hanzo's unsupported there, which is pretty standard. And then our Hanzo's going to rejoin us because he lost health. And now we're fighting this sort of one-directional fight, and that's not good for us. We hit a Mei wall here. And this Mei wall sort of stopped them from retreating, I suppose, but it didn't really stop anyone from contributing on their team, even temporarily, did it?
No.
Yeah, so this isn't really the Mei wall we wanted, but something important has happened here. And that important thing is we got their lamp out. And that's pretty regularly going to happen when you use Mei wall. You're going to get cooldowns out of the other team in the form of lamp, frequently in the form of diva boosters and a lot of DM. And that's going to mean you still have those resources. Now, you're not going to maintain this resource because the Reaper, I expect, has just chunked your Reinhardt, and you're going to have to use your own lamp. But if they lamp before you do, that means you're at a bit of an advantage in the fight unless you've spent a bunch of other resources, right?
Yeah.
So anytime you see that lamp go out, you guys want to actively call that. And everyone needs to recognize that what a couple calls mean. The first thing you need to recognize is when your wall goes up, if your wall went up before their wall went up, or if your wall went up and they don't have a wall, this means press W. Other things that are going to mean pressing W are their lamp came out first, their ice block came out first, their diva boosters came out first, whereas things that might mean more stabilize are going to be, hey, we used our lamp and they haven't used their lamp yet. We're potentially behind, potentially we need to stabilize, we need to slow this fight down a little bit more. Or, hey, our diva just had to go use boosters to peel because our Reinhardt's getting crushed. We're potentially behind in this fight and we need to stabilize. Are you guys with me so far?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I don't just want someone to yell push, 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 though that's perfectly fine when we see a lamp happen, when we see the wall come out. I want each of you to individually understand what it means when we get the first wall off, even if it's not a perfect wall, or when we see a lamp, an ice block, a wraith, a diva booster, a Zarya bubble, that sort of thing come out of them. You guys, does that make sense to all of you?
Yeah.
Cool. Obviously, we should have had a lamp. I'm not sure why we didn't, but our lamp is late. We don't ice block. That's life. Totally fine.
Can you drag Simply back in? He had to go mobile.
No, I cannot. Yeah, I'll grab Simply. There we go. Okay, welcome back. There. So you guys are going to try to kite backwards. Force out Wraith. Good. Hanzo's got the cute little off angle. Stops being an off angle as we push in here. We have Lucio pressuring from here. And Lucio pressuring from here is kind of good, except we're now just approaching this point directly, and this is going to be really hard to win, because we've said, hey, maybe we've backed them up from the choke enough, but if we push in like this, we've got this awkward situation where their Reinhardt is pressuring from this direction. Their Reaper, the Reaper who's really good at close range, can we put any pressure on this Reaper before we walk our Reinhardt through this choke? Like, there's this wall in the way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we're going to retake this point, Lucio's trying over here, but Lucio trying over here isn't really enough, isn't a serious enough of a threat. Yes, booping back the Reinhardt helps, but it's not enough of a threat to really make them have to adjust to it and answer it and make pushing through this easier, is it?
No.
So how could we either approach this point differently on retake, or how could we soften it up enough that our Reinhardt could walk through like this? And Seth, why don't you tell me that?
I mean, I guess we could wall. We could also just not take this main fight. We could go high ground.
Okay.
That's what I would
could-
prefer with that kind of thing.
We
But-
have a Hanzo with us, right? So we could go high ground. I could shield and try to take out the Reaper because he's #1 priority, most likely.
Sure.
And then once we get either some damage or a pick, we go in.
Sure. The high ground isn't absolutely amazing on this point, but they're doing
Yeah.
nothing to block you from rotating there, and
Mhm.
you're in a situation where you could do that. You could also probably just send like your Hanzo up there alone or your Hanzo Lucio up there and have them just sort of do damage either from the high ground or from over here. And if they adjust, if they start putting their shield this way, if they start shooting in this direction, then as they try to adjust, you could just run your core in, couldn't you? Yeah, so I'm totally fine. Send Hanzo and Lucio up here, send Hanzo and Lucio up here, send just Hanzo up here, that sort of thing. Lucio is helping, he's trying, but I generally want my Lucio, truth be told, hanging out a little closer to my Reinhardt on this sort of wall, where Ore is a little more helpful. But yeah, no, conceptually that would be fine. We would just like to not be having to walk into this situation, and if we are walking into it, we do need to Mei wall immediately. You guys are correct.
Pretty sure I feed right here, so.
Okay. So this is just mismatched pressure where our Mei is going hard while Reinhardt is trying to stabilize. So this is the team. This is what we were sort of talking about. If we've got cooldowns out of them versus don't have cooldowns out of them, we want to understand whether we're pressure cycling, whether we're pushing hard, or whether we're stabilizing. And right now our Reinhardt is stabilizing while our Mei is pressuring. And this is a bit of a problem. So if we look at this, this is scary. I totally get it. This happened. We probably shouldn't be fire striking into the D.Va. That probably doesn't make sense. We're being protected with DM while we swing. We then go for the shield. And I'm good with going for the shield, but I can't really back up here as Reinhardt. Like, I guess I could back up, but what is backing up going to get me?
Not much, and it's going to make it so that my Mei dies, basically.
Right.
Or has to use ice.
Whereas
And
I'm
then we're done with it.
totally good with you shielding here, but this is a stabilized shield. While you just shield while your BAP does what he can to heal you back up, prop you back up, while you sort of look for another opening like this. Like, this isn't really a back out scenario, and if it is, we've sort of got to be calling back, right?
No, I didn't call anything. I don't
Yeah.
think.
No problem, no problem. Okay, that's fine, and we're going to restabilize here. I mean, we effectively see what happened here. It's nothing too complicated where, hey, we went down because we didn't open this fight terribly well, so we fall back in resources. We do hit this situation where we're down someone. They've used their lamp, but we're down someone, and we didn't really get a ton of wall value before losing our Mei. We're effectively down more than they are. We're now pushed into this, and we're trying, but this is be enough. Also, we've got our Hanzo and our BAP shooting from the same angle. Are we going to win fights generally if we have our Hanzo and our BAP shooting from the same angle?
No.
Right. It's just too easy. The D.Va can block both of them. The Reinhardt can block both of them. The same piece of cover will work against both of them. The Hanzo's great, but part of what makes Hanzo great is, hey, Hanzo can pretty easily get to different places and do scary damage from over there. But that's okay. We lamp. And this is ultimately just a dead fight. No problem.
I see us use lamp. Should I aggress then, or should I keep backing up?
So it depends on what your plan to solve the fight is. Like, it's really not a 100% of the time when you see Lamp, you go wild and just swing, nor is it a 100% of the time Lamp just means continue to stabilize. In this situation, I'd have probably said go wild and swing, because I don't really think you're in this fight, and I think there's very little chance of you getting out, and hey, you're just resetting yourself faster and, you know, not giving them more percentage and getting some swing ult charge yourself. I'd have said swing in this situation, yes. But it's not 100% perfectly the answer, because, you know, sometimes we're going, hey, the Lamp is literally we're saving you for 1 second while we get our D.Va up over an ice wall to DM you, that sort of thing. It really depends on be as aggressive as you can get away with, unfortunately. Okay, so you guys are probably going to back over to your side of the choke again, recover your 6. We got a pick there. That's going to help. You guys have a tempo to push here. And I'm totally fine with this. This is great. So we hit our ice wall. It's maybe a touch early, but only a touch early. We can absolutely use this and just run on them and go, hey, that's going to have to be good enough. It's obviously not a perfect ice wall where they're in this situation where, hey, these two got lifted, not set behind it, and this BAP really still has an angle on his Reinhardt. So I actually would have preferred more of a, you know, even something that was just like, hey, it's over here, and it just blocks the BAP, and BAP has to hop over it. That would have been fine with me. Obviously, bringing this in a little more so that these guys get behind it, that would have been fine. But ultimately, it's at least going to make it a little more awkward. We hope for their Reaper to get in. We'll take it. Regardless, it should be sort of trained as our go sign of we'll int together, and we'll just push this Reinhardt right now. So let's push this Reinhardt. Okay, that's fine. Great. Okay, and we're sort of backing, and that doesn't really make a ton of sense right now, does it?
I don't know why.
What's that?
I don't know why I did that.
Yeah, we're backing probably because their beat was scary to us or their self-destruct was scary to us. I get that, but we very much want to be pushing in right now. We are up on resources on this team. Okay, no big deal. Okay. Unfortunate.
That was all my bad. I had shield. I remember this. I had all of the shield, and I just dropped it. Oh, I had my sound off because I was fucking playing the night before, and I turned my sound down, so I didn't know what happened.
Okay, got it. Oh yeah, you lost him. Okay, so that's just a bit of a heartbreaker because that should have been a 1 fight. Obviously, there's things we could have done to make that 1 fight better. We could have said, hey, let's push our D.Va and Hanzo through here, and if we'd pushed our D.Va and our Hanzo through here, they both have a nice angle, off angle. They can still apply good protection for our Reinhardt. That would have been great on our retake, and it would have loosened this up. We could have hit our wall a bit better, even to just block one person up, and then we could have blocked the high noon. But overall, this should have been a team fight win. This was a close one. We're happier with this one. Okay. You guys rotate high ground this time. This is going to be last fight. Again, I don't actually want all of you guys here. Like, I'm pretty comfortable going, hey, we're going to rotate everyone high ground, and we just leave our Kree behind as we rotate high ground. We might hide that we leave him behind. We might have left him behind here, and we're not going to have him constantly poking from here. We're going to have him, the Hanzo could sort of go fishing, though that's not perfect. But now that we have the Kree, we definitely don't want them to aggress on the Kree, and Kree doesn't have quite that one-shot ability without any of the flash stuff. So what we want to do is we want to go, okay, this is happening, and now we poke this team down a little bit, or more likely, we just drop on this team and walk at them, and that's when Kree opens his angle, because as the tank lines have met, it's going to be really hard for this team to turn and look over here, right?
Right.
So that's really what I want to see happen. Basically, every team fight, as your tank lines meet, your Kree sort of opens this off angle. You can absolutely mix it up every once in a while and go, no, we're going to try to do a Kree flash their Rhine type play down main. But really, like 4 out of 5 times, you should be taking the off angle and opening the off angle on them, kind of as a surprise, even if it's obvious that you're doing it, as the tank lines meet. But that's okay. Let's take this. You guys have the high ground, but it's not really giving you an advantage because you have just one angle. You hit the wall, that's great. You hit the lamp and the beat, which is a little bit unfortunate. I totally understand, hey, we feel pressured to win this fight. We're good. Our May's in some trouble. I'm not going to worry too much about your May. It should be very hard to get you to lamp for your May when she still has Ice Block. We're in this situation. Maybe now we're lamping for our Reinhardt. Totally fine. And we should just be continuing to go hard with this, right? We got mere lamps on each side. We still have our ice wall advantage that we got. I still want to be brawling, and I want the whole team to understand that we should still be brawling based on the callouts, based on, hey, we hit our wall. Hey, their lamp came out too. Like, we should still be going hard. We want to be brawling because we have lamp value, and, you know, this is close. Their Reinhardt's weak. We're weak. We can absolutely brawl this. Our beat, on the other hand, we probably want to delay a bit. That said, we did beat. I don't understand why we're letting ourselves get pushed back while we're beating here. Like, this one hurts my soul a little bit. You guys see how you're sort of getting forced back here?
Yeah.
And I look at this, and if there's some boop, maybe. But you guys just kind of got scared. You see that? Like, the Reinhardt maybe had a little bit of pin shenanigans, but, like, ultimately you guys just got scared and backed into this little cubby, and you're giving them all the map control where, okay, maybe you could push out here too, but you're going to have to push out into getting shot from every direction, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's we don't want that. The team with more angles tends to be the team that wins. There we go. What's that?
Oh, sorry. Our Baptiste, well, he just got back up, but he dropped down, and I was wondering, is that the good move, or should he have stayed up on the high ground? Or was it okay?
No, we probably would have kept him on the high ground if he was specifically getting pressured by the opposing Bap McCree. You know, there's things that could cause him to drop, certainly, but generally, no, he'd have stayed on the high ground. You know, even if his angle just sucks, he might drop because the angle up there isn't fantastic for this point, but... Yeah,
and I saw there was a diva in the cubby, so maybe she was getting pressured or
something. Sorry, guys, I think I jumped there. Apologies if that blew out the eardrums. Yeah, I need to replace the mic. Until a couple days ago it was fine, but now it's doing that. Okay. And ultimately, we're going to be able to clean this one up. It was expensive, but we did it. I hope. Oh no, maybe not. Okay. So, if you're driving this fight and you guys are what are you thinking? How do we make sure we win this fight? Because I look at this fight and we have ourselves a 4v4 on point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You get to cheat. You have all the information in the world. The game is paused. How do you win this fight? What's that?
Is our May alive? I can't tell if that's...
Nope, no. Your May is on her way back, but she's still a bit of a way.
So I guess window?
Okay, window's pretty good. If you drop window, that's probably going to do some work, I agree. I don't love that your McCree and your Bap are on the same angle. You guys might be thinking, oh, but we'll both be able to shoot through the window. That's not amazing, because the Rein Shield temporarily works in the same against them. The same piece of cover will work. Sure.
Wait, I actually fell in the hole here is what the problem was. I was the Kree, and like if you roll back, I fell down the hole.
Oh, got it. Yes, I see. You're
That's
coming back
why it's taking so long, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we're going to, I hope, drop our window and just punish these guys. Or Lucio's kiting, distracting as best he can. He's got 4 sets of eyeballs on him, which is quite a lot for a Lucio. 3 sets of eyeballs, I suppose. Okay, so we're going to see a window with our McCree behind it. Good DM to save the Lucio. Maybe. And then the Reinhardt makes a positional mistake, and you guys should punish both of those. Okay. Okay. So now you guys should be setting up. You guys did not cleanly win the fight, so you do not get to do the forward hold. They're too close already. You guys don't have everyone that you would like, but you're going to set up for a point hold. So let's see how we do this, especially given the ults that we have online. Great. I'm totally good with Reinhardt holding here. But what am I going to say? What is Temporal going to say next about how you guys are positioned?
No off angles.
You got it. You got it. So who should be where? How could we make this better?
Tree could be on the high ground.
It's an option, sure.
If simply kind of angled to the right more, I feel like I could be in the right room. But just if I was in the right room right now, alone, I feel like I'd be very easy to catch out as Kree.
So what if, hear me out here, we put a Reinhardt right here, a Mei right here, a Lucio right here, a McCree right here, and a D.Va sort of standing here. And then our BAP standing, for all I care, back here. Maybe a little closer, but standing back here if we don't think we're going to push into them. How's that sound for positioning for you guys?
Pretty good. Pretty strong. A lot of angles.
Better than this?
Better than this. So I'd kind of like you guys always to be thinking defensively about can you get something similar to what I just described? I didn't just randomly place you guys. I thought, hey, I want my McCree on an off angle that's relevant. Up here, you sort of got some fall off. It's just not the greatest high ground in the world. We know this is relevant. Here, this is the main choke that their Reinhardt is going to want to push through, so I've got my Reinhardt covering that. I'd like my Mei taking a more gentle off angle than my McCree. So if I have my Rhine on one side of the choke, an instant place of where might Mei make sense might be the other side of the choke, and you could flip them. You could put Mei here and Rhine here. I don't really care. And then you're thinking, again, D.Va's looking for a little bit of a gentle off angle, and Lucio is looking to sort of play the corner above our Rhine. I liked this corner above our Rhine because it also gave us the ability to pull McCree out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of a big concept there, but if we think like that, we'll do pretty well.
Before this fight breaks out, can you drag in our D&D player?
I can drag in your D&D player. There we go. Okay, we've got the whole gang here. Let's continue through. Okay, so that worked pretty well, and that's going to have worked pretty well for a couple reasons. We do this. We got their lamp out first. We should now know that we can push this team and we just win. That's maybe a little bit of an inspired Blizzard. I'm not at all convinced that I'd have been willing to Blizzard in D.Va's face like that, but maybe you saw DM had just went off. This is somewhat aggressive, and I'm okay with that. What I'd like when my Mei is being aggressive is being a little more aggressive on slightly an angle. So if your Rhine is on this angle, I'd probably have wanted you over here, putting a little bit more pressure. But this Blizzard is going to do something great for us, which is split them, and you guys recognize this, and this is great right here. You guys recognize that they got splits, and you go, hey, Reinhardt, hold this core out. If Lucio needs to back you up, so be it. Everyone else, go deal with these people. We have a nice surround on them. Your McCree is now off-angling against this group. Maybe he's off-angling because he was late to the main party, but we're now off-angling against this group. This group is sort of off-angling against our core, but we can hold their core out mostly with our Reinhardt and our Blizzard while we just roll these guys, right?
Right.
Okay, good. So that's what we want to do. Totally fine. Obviously, we'd have liked to hit a little bit better of a wall here. Oh, maybe I'm not being fair to that wall. Oh, no, that wall. That's a fantastic wall. We're just going to press W. Great. I don't know why you guys paused for even a moment there. Just keep pressing W, and you are golden for this. Okay. Sure, you can back if you want. What am I going to ask you guys to do now? No. They do not get that space for free. There's this open space that they have to cross through that does not have any cover, and you guys just cleanly wiped them. And that's really important that you guys just cleanly wiped them, because it means you don't have to wait for any of your people to come back from spawn, which means you can do a forward hold. I'm not going to ask you to hold their spawn doors, but I'm not going to let them have from here to here for free. So what do you do to not give them this for free?
We can hold like the either side window because we have Deadeye and our own
we could just
Matrix.
Yeah, DPS on each side poking. Just
Love
be ready
it.
to speed out and stuff.
Exactly. So if you go like this and you go, hey, we're going to hold core here, maybe Reinhardt plus Bap plus May, and then we go, hey, I've got my McCree and my Diva over here, probably my McCree and my Diva over here, we're going to be in pretty good shape. And they, might, if they were a normal Brawl team, throw one thing up to block one side with an ice wall, but if you let them start to come in, pretend that you're threatening from here, and then go, hey, we're threatening from here. We drop our window. They throw up a Mei wall because they're scared, and then you open a High Noon over here as they're rotating in. There's really nothing they can do, is there?
Nope. No.
Right. So that's exactly what I'd like to see, and I really hope that does happen, but I have a sneaking suspicion that it does not. And the main problem is you guys started to go back to point before you realized, oh, wait, we should go hold up here with Rein. And because that happened, we did not get ourselves a McCree over here, for example. Or you could have had your Mei over here, or your Mei and your McCree over here, and go, hey, I'm going to hit the Mei wall to mess up their retreat, that sort of thing. So that they're stuck going, oh, shoot, we're out here. There's a Mei wall behind us, making it hard for us to back out as we just get blown up by the BAP window. But that's okay. Still executed reasonably well in terms of the concept there, just not in the position that we wanted. And we'll do a brief run back through this. We go like that. We tried to answer that, but we're a little too split, and they were able to get their Reaper through. Not a big deal. Okay, I don't want to see this. This is unfortunately too common of a habit. I don't really want these ults going off at the same time. And simply, can you tell me why I don't want these ults going off at the same time?
So basically, both of the ults, I think, are trying to help us stabilize, and overlapping them, it would be easier for them to wait it out and then push us after.
Right, exactly. Both of them cause them to not really want to fight you. They don't really want you while they're dealing with, wait, where do I have to stand to not get hit by the self-destruct? Wait, let me steer my shield towards the self-destruct. They're going to spend cooldowns like amp speed, like lamp, like Rein shields, like boosters to deal with the self-destruct. They're also probably going to go, hey, we would use some of those cooldowns to not fight you while you had beat going. So you would really rather stagger these ults than stack them. So obviously these ults weren't planned, like, oh, I'm going to self-destruct this fight or I'm going to beat this fight, but they just sort of came out. So what happens when one of you ults? Do you just press Q? Do you say ulting? Do you go ulting in 3? Can't really go ulting in 3 in these when it's sort of a reaction to we're under pressure, but I bet there's a way that we can cause ourselves to not double ult. A, we can recognize that these are not ults we want to use at the same time, but B, I bet we can call more teammate attention to the fact that we're ulting. Because if we're ulting, that's a pretty big commitment of resources from us, and it's almost always going to require or want some team action. If we're throwing a self-destruct, we probably want our team either stabilizing or we want our team hard pushing. If we're beating, we probably want our team taking advantage of the beat. If we're blading, we probably want our team feeding in hard to support that blade, right?
Yep.
Yep.
So I want you guys to call when you ult. I don't need you to pre-call like I'm going to ult in 3 seconds. I literally just want you screaming, self-destructing, beating. Screaming is a strong word, but loudly and authoritatively saying that you're doing the ult. It'll help cause a little bit less over-ulting in some situations, and it also makes it much more likely that you don't, oops, we accidentally used both of these ults. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, good answer as a cowboy by those 3. Did we just lose track of the Diva? Okay. Okay, a little unfortunate to lose our Cassidy there, but that's okay. Great. Stabilize that choke, and you should fall into good defensive concave positions. And we've already talked about what those could look like right now. There's no reason for our Reinhardt to back away from the choke. Good. I don't really need my D.Va just standing behind my Reinhardt. So, like, I look like this, and I know I'm micromanaging here, but there's really not a great reason for my D.Va to be behind my Reinhardt like this. I'd prefer to take more of an off angle in, like, hey, I'm sort of off angled on the other position, or I've got a bit of an angle, or I'd even think about boostering up here as they start to walk in. But that's okay. Great, and now we just W. We know that they lamped first. We should have our lamp. We know that we should have our lamp. Oh. We hope that we'll have our lamp. We're still going to W into this. We hit our wall, we can play off of it. Obviously, the self-destruct causes a resource change. That looks great. That looks less great. And that should do it for you guys. Just a quick cleanup. Okay. Heading into the second control point, but before we jump to the second control point, do you guys have any major questions over this? We'll obviously do a summary of like the most important points from this VOD review at the end, but does anyone have any questions at this point?
I accidentally, maybe big brained, I don't know, fucking single shattered the Lucio. I don't know if it was worth it. But is just basically my question is it viable to solo shatter? I know it's viable to solo shatter like a Cooling Moira or like a Cooling or some ulting person, but like is it viable to shatter just like a 1 or 2 person group? Like is that okay?
In an even fight, if an ultimate gets an elimination, it's great.
Okay.
Like that's sort of the reality. Like if the fight is even, ult free eliminations in this era of Overwatch. Like, hey, we have this ult, that means we get eliminations or we get a team fight. When no, it doesn't. That's people are better at Overwatch than that now. So if you can go, this shatter is gonna get me a Lucio elimination, and it's still a 6v6, take it every day of the week.
Okay.
I had.
Oh,
I had a question. Sorry.
Go ahead.
So, you were mentioning about how I should, as D.Va, be off angling more. Is that all the time, or is it okay to kind of stack on my team if they have like enemy Mei with a ultimate or like a Zarya, or should I still off angle and still look to?
You want to off angle and look to eat. The truth is, it's a lot harder to see you if you're off angling. It's a lot harder for them to pay attention to you. They're going to be paying attention to your Reinhardt, and if you're going to get eats, you sort of have to be awkward. It has to be hard to track you. It has to be like they're mostly not just going to yeet it into you, and be like, oh, I hope they miss it. I hope they don't eat it. So you've got to be a little more squirrely than that, a little more crafty. You've got to be on the off angle, but that also applies better pressure on them in general, where you have the off angle pressure. So this isn't the best map for it. Let me see what our next map is. I can use this as an example. Let's say your Reinhardt is right here. Their Reinhardt is right here. Do you apply more pressure to their team by standing back here as D.Va, or by shooting down at their Reinhardt from over here as D.Va?
Up there on top point.
Okay. Why?
Because then they're not holding up their shield up towards me, so I get easier shots, and if they do focus on me, then my team gets an easier time to just W into them.
Yep, exactly. It becomes harder for them to adjust to you. It's also going to be a situation where, yeah, they might aim up and look at you and you can just step back, that sort of thing, and then step back in. But yeah, they have to pick between, like, I'm looking at you, I'm looking at you, I'm looking at you, I'm looking at you. I've got cover against the Reinhardt, but not against the D.Va. I've got cover against the Reinhardt, but not against the D.Va. This is awkward, that sort of thing. So that's actually going to allow you to put much more pressure on them, which makes it harder for them in general to figure out a solution to the fight. But also, if you're up here, you know, it's hard to see the DM being cast over you from up here, isn't it?
My issue with that is I feel like it's easier for me to catch things if I'm stacked on top of my team, and I just think it's just easier, and I always feel like I have to be kind of like a second shield, making sure someone doesn't get one tapped or abilities land on them. So should I still off angle and just practice on eating those?
Yeah, because what's
Before?
ultimately going to happen is you want to make sure that your team doesn't get one tapped, or excuse me, you want to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that you can eat abilities like nades, like um, storm arrows, scary things, Junkrat mines
Right.
that might come in. Like you want to be able to eat those, but it actually gets easier to see as you get better when you have an off angle. It gets easier to see the traffic that's coming through and see the opponent that could throw the thing that you're worried about, be that a nade, a sleep, a mine, a Moira orb. Those things get easier to see when you're not stacked on top of your team, truth be told. Like if I'm up over here, and now I'll be up over, that's too high. I'll be up over here. It's a lot easier for me to see what's going on from up here than it is sort of from the middle of it when I'm staring through this giant German guy with this big shield and like, okay, well, there's sort of, I'm worried about my Ana. Oh, I didn't even realize Tracer was over there because I have to turn so far for that. Like, I can see a lot more of the battlefield, and I'm not constantly trying to go, oh, I'm eating everything all the time. I kind of have to focus a little more than that. I have to prime what I'm a little more worried about and go, I'm worried about the Ananade because that's on cooldown, or I'm worried about the Ananade and the Storm Arrow, or I'm worried about the Anasleep and the Pulse Bomb, or I'm worried about the Grav and the Junkrat Mine, right? Like, I'm not going, hey, I can be everywhere at once doing everything. I'm actually sort of aware of what specifically I'm trying to eat, yes?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just easier to see when you've got an angle like that, truth be told. Does that sort of track with you?
Yeah, it does.
I think if you give it some practice like that, you'll come to agree that way. But do try it my way with the off angles. You will get burned out faster sometimes, so you'll have to learn how much you can creep on the off angles and not. But I think if you try it, you'll find, oh wait, this really is easier to eat things I'm trying to eat if you hang out on those angles. Obviously at appropriate ranges, but okay, let's jump through here.
Ready for battle. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Round 2. Capture the objective.
Okay, so we're pushing through for Brawl. Why did they make it so much faster than us? Did they sim TP and we didn't? No. Oh, we don't have our Lucio, that's why. Okay, okay. Is this because you expected them to run dive?
We just wanted to control high ground. We weren't too worried about rotating out of it. That's why we're running the Torb too.
Interesting. Okay. Okay, you're going to be a little slower to high ground here. Let's see what you do about it. So you're just trying to go full brawl power. You're able to outline of sight them there and push through there. Yeah, that's about what I expected to happen. Okay. I got a couple back.
The objective is now active.
Okay, let's try to keep this weighing a little bit lower. I am going to, ultimately this will be something that you guys can refer back to. I'll upload it for you there, but YouTube isn't happy with the...
Sorry.
All good, all good. Okay, and we're going to be able to win that out. And that was kind of a messy fight. We didn't really set ourselves up to win that fight, and we didn't really win it cleanly either, did we?
No.
So, if I look at this fight, I gotta be honest, I'm not in love with not bringing the Lucio because I think it's always going to cause you guys to get out-rotated against a Brawl team to this high ground. Dive teams won't be able to out-rotate you because they just won't be able to match you here. You'll just be like, yeah, good joke, we're going to beat you, whatever. But as we look at this, you're in this situation where they're able to already have high ground by the time you're pushing to elevator. That's going to be a problem, isn't it? Because if they can put a hit scan or a Hanzo or an Echo or something on high ground, it's going to be really tough for you to just walk through and win, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I just kind of disagree with the strategy at a macro level. If you guys were to run a team that sort of this brawl heavy without having Lucio, I'd probably be more tempted to go over here, though even that's a little dicey. You have a little bit more protection from the high ground. It's still a little dicey because you don't have the Lucio speed to help you push out threats, to help push out threats if you roll a dive team that's going to try to contest with a monkey here, contest with a ball here, contest with a diva here, that sort of thing. Like, okay, well, we'll try to run at them and get back to cover isn't really going to be an option for you. So I'm not in love with the composition, but we can make the composition work. You guys send your Hanzo up here, which is good. Now you have a way to challenge this, and I also need my Diva to challenge this. There should already be a recognition that, hey, this is way too big a threat for us to not address, them having sent someone to high ground, and this needs to be challenged, and I still think we can win the brawl if we spend our Diva and our Hanzo to address this Kree. We should beat the McCree, but even if he leaves, now our Hanzo has high ground, and we get to do to them what they're about to do to us. So we don't get over there with our Hanzo. We don't send Diva up to high ground to address the double hit scan. Definitely wanted to do that. And what are we fighting? Okay, we're fighting the Kree over there. Cassidy over there. Okay, and we finish that off. Okay, and you guys are deciding that you're just going to hold high ground. I don't want to let them have this much. Okay, so this is a little bit of a problem. So I'm okay with the high ground hold, but I don't want the card. What you guys are doing is you're saying we're going to win with our poke, with our high ground advantage, and our high ground enhances our poke advantage. And I'm totally good with that. But should you let them get this much cart progress is fine, but should you let them get, say, this much point progress before you contest?
No.
Right, so who can contest and not really be in much danger, and really isn't giving that much up from your poke phase either?
Diva.
Easy. We could have contested this literally right here, and it cost us nothing. If we're just hidden behind the pillar where Hanzo is, if we just go, yeah, I'm going to drop my Diva here, and if they push into me, I can boost her away. Like, that costs us nothing and extends how long we get to poke at this team, right?
Right.
Okay, so simply just free drop here.
Yeah.
Oops. And at this point, I'm probably going to drop my Reinhardt because my Reinhardt isn't doing enough for me anymore. I'm going to have to fight these guys, and they're not going to, like, dive. They have a Diva that they could dive my backline with, a Lucio they could dive my backline with, but I'm really not too worried about them diving my Kree Bap team up here. Are you guys?
No.
Okay, so we want to drop this and fight. We want to drop our Reinhardt down here. We want to let our poke team do some work, but ultimately we're just going to emote. Okay, okay. Sure. Find a fire strike solution. Running from the high noon. Not sure why we didn't get an audio cue, but okay. And now we're going to run at them with Rally, right? Right? Their high noon's over. We're going to fight with Rally. We're going to fight with Rally. This is really passive for Rally, and I think if we'd sort of said, you know, rallying, that would have been a good reminder to our team that we should be pushing right now, right? Because Rally should sort of almost automatically activate, I want to push because Rally is a stupid good brawl ult, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I can promise you I did.
Okay, good, good. Then people, I want us to have a little bit more of an understanding of what these things mean. Like rally means push, or us hitting the wall means push, or them using their lamp first means push, that sort of thing. But okay. Okay, we've got control back again. That's great. I hate it. So here we are. And we go like this, and we have ourselves a Hanzo, and we have ourselves a Dragon Strike, and that's great, except this Dragon Strike, well, it's coming from a slight off angle. What do I generally want to accomplish with Dragon Strikes?
Team.
Cut off the enemy team from rotating to one another.
Okay. I want to cut them off from rotating. I want to do that when my team can engage on their team, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Is my team look ready to engage on their team?
No, but I remember at this point we were calming, like, let's set this up to, like, we were talking about it.
Okay, no problem. So I want two things to change. I want our team actually to go in faster when we Dragon Strike like this. I want that to happen. I also am pretty confident that we can wait until this team actually starts to push rather than to split them like this. And I probably want my split at more of a 90-degree angle as opposed to a 45-degree angle. You follow what I'm saying? Like, I think that's just going to be easier. I think that's going to be more successful. I still think you can get that off pretty easy. But this is a little bit unfortunate. We send this out. They're sort of there, sort of not really there. They're able to all kite away from the dragon. We're not really pushing into them. So maybe we just need to, play into the plan that we made a little bit harder here. Should still be able to win it. Like, we should still just walk on this team from both sides. Believe in yourselves, guys. Believe in yourselves. I'm not sure why our support line rotated all the way over to the left rather than joining Reinhardt, but okay. Yeah, we're letting these people survive because we didn't leave, say, our Brig over here to just, well, we literally just crushed this team between our two factions here. But okay. Factions, wrong term. What's that?
When I was on the right side, like by myself, should I just kept pushing through to them because there was like a good off angle, I guess. I could have just kept pushing
well,
through.
The problem is this BAP is here. If this BAP wasn't here, the answer is yes. You just walk at them and yell for your team to do the same thing. You might do it anyways, because how much do you want to respect this BAP? But the reality is if this BAP has good aim, he can pretty quickly chew you down. That said, go ahead.
What I realized was that everybody else was going left side, so I was like, all right, I got to kite left, and that's what I did.
I'll have to go over that. If you don't realize that this BAP is here, you walk on this while shouting for your team to do the same thing. Oh, my team doesn't have a Rein shield. I don't care. Whatever.
Right.
There's you guys can deal with me and my hammer, which is the real threat, not my shield, or you can deal with my team. I don't care which.
Okay.
And you're a little off cycle on your aggression, where you push in and then back out, and then these guys go after you've started to back out, we'll push in, and we want our aggression cycles to be together. So a little bit more in terms of a push type call, and we just need to be a little bit faster to react either to those calls or to everyone individually recognizing it themselves, which is the real key, but you get there as you get better. And we try to call some things that are good signals of aggression so that everyone can individually recognize it themselves a little bit faster. So again, we're Molten Coring here. We've now used a Dragon Strike and a Molten Core, and while we got some limbs during our Dragon Strike, we didn't get all of our cleanup kills. We didn't get like a clean team fight win. We didn't get to refund the ult charge for that, really. And now we're using Molten Core, and we're again not fighting them. And this isn't really going to work for me. We need to set this up a bit better. Okay, that just happens. No big deal. Okay. Rally's a really big ult to use back into what I'm considering a stall situation, but I'm ready for you guys to prove me wrong. Okay. You're going to prove me wrong and not make this a stall situation. No, we're going to go. Turn it. Fine. Excuse me, have it turned on us, but that's okay.
Overtime.
Okay. Got about 2 chances to take it here. Perfectly fine. Sure. Trying to bait them away. So I think it's going to be tough to go challenge these guys, but if you challenge them, how could you do it? How could you challenge these guys while they're on high ground? Someone talk me through it.
We end up not here. I was shot calling and I hit tab to look at our ults and then realized that we're way more of a poke than a brawl, so I passed us the other way. But I guess it'd be like sending our Diva and our Hanzo up the wall as we're taking bounce pad, maybe.
Okay, you could try to rotate out to
Or
bounce
just
pad.
toss bomb up as we're going.
Yeah, you could try to rotate up to bounce pad, and as you're coming through bounce pad, you could go, hey, let's have our Diva hit a cross boop to try to knock someone off, something like that. Maybe you've left your Hanzo behind, and you try to have him climb up and threaten something along those lines. That could work, absolutely, but you guys are instead going to rotate away. I'm fine with that. Are you going to rotate to coast side here? Sure. Okay, I can live with this. I think you guys know where I'm probably going to say next. Great, their window's over. And this is a little bit annoying in that, again, you guys get flattened here, and we'll just call that life. We're good, we got that. But what would make this a lot easier at this point?
If I block the shadow.
Sure,
No,
sure.
I'm just kidding.
That would make it easier.
I think
So-
just committing to the brawl, maybe.
You could try to just commit to the brawl. I hope you guys do commit on the brawl and win here. I hope you guys recognize that these guys can't really get adequate help and you just blow them up. That would be great. I'd also still like your Hanzo to just be sitting more like over here and go, let me just peek and do this sort of thing. Like, I really would actually like that. He can get repair packs. He can get the occasional right click. And anyone that they send around to try to fight you guys, he can pretty effectively shoot at. Like, we're not going to spend a ton of time fighting them, but we would like to be able to go, hey, if you chase my team, I go here. And if you chase him, that's fine. He'll do his little hop away as best he can thing. But that's okay. We'll deal. Okay. Again, I look at that dragon and I get what we're trying to do. I'd probably actually send that dragon to clear the high ground, if anything. Make them spread more, but that's life.
Overtime.
Sure. Trying to do this through pressure. Good flatten. So here we are. Diva's here. We hit the shatter. We hit the shatter. Why, oh why, is my Brig backing up and my Diva not going in hard? Like, do we not have boosters? We don't have boosters. But I look at this and, like, we just hit a shatter. Our Hanzo's backing away. Our Brig is backing away. Our Diva's going in kind of passively. Like, we just need to push harder when we use these big enabling ults like this. But that's okay. Continue through. They're going to get a good cycle on us now. Diva's trying to shut it out, but ultimately we close on it. Perfect. And that should be map. And then we would head over to the third point, which we'll do a bit of a lightning run on because I don't want to wear you guys out too much mentally here. Okay, so here we are. We did our rotation out. We've this time brought our Doomfist and Lucio. Works for me. Okay. What does your comp do better and what does their comp do better? Someone tell me.
We can kind of just run into them and force our positioning a little better because we've got the Reaper and the Doomfist.
Right, you just take short sight line to explosively leave short sight lines to just get on top of them and roll them over. You got it. You got it. They have to kite you.
The objective is now active.
Okay, so we shouldn't let too much poke happen.
Time to raid my APM.
They're walking this way on you, really? That's a terrible idea. Okay, they're gonna now out-rotate as they should. Then you have a decision to make of if you're gonna match or loop behind. Probably don't want to send our Doomfist alone after that. That's probably a bad idea. Okay, they're going to try to wear you out. You stabilize. But we can't just let this become an ongoing trade. We are explosively going to have to go after them at some point. We don't want to just let for a while. Okay, so this is pretty much exactly what I didn't want, where what happened here, and you guys probably see this, is they pulled you over here. You've now got your people roughly where you need them. They're pretty close. Could you walk at this team? Could you engage upon this team right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'd
You're
kind of...
done me and Lucio.
Right. Like, I don't love how far away our Lucio is, and I don't love that our Doomfist is away, and those are kind of problems that those things happen. So, like, it's kind of problems that we let ourselves go do those things, because, truth be told, Doomfist is not... Like, Doomfist can off-angle for his rollouts, that's a thing, but ultimately, we don't want to be in a situation where we can't challenge this team, because if we can't challenge them because we're waiting on people, they get to just wear us down, which is what they're trying to do right now. They're just softening us up, doing damage, and this situation favors them. This is their win condition, right?
Yeah.
So we really needed to go, hey, we're going to make you come in closer to us. We're not going to give you situations to brawl us. And as soon as you start the fight on us, we're not going to let you poke at us, pressure cook us. As soon as you start the fight with us, or as soon as you give us even a chance to start the fight with you, we will, but we had to keep people a little closer to do that. Maybe our Lucio's away because he's bringing Doomfist back. I hope so. And now we're just going to push. D.Va's going to answer the off angle, and we're going to run these guys over, right? Lucio's going to answer the off angle. Okay. And ultimately, they're able to win this because they wore us out. Like, our comp is better if we got to fight the way we wanted to fight, but they're going to do this. Now we're just going to lose this slow stabilized fight, and we're just stalling for point percentage. Should be the case. Maybe not the case. Okay. If they surrender map position, you guys could, there we go.
Nerf this. Nerf this.
Okay, ultimately you guys turned it. Nice job. They sort of surrendered map position, let themselves get surrounded. We'll take it. Okay, let's set up on a short sight line.
I've got you in my sight.
Okay, so this is a problem. I'm sorry, guys, 1 second.
Sorry.
So we're on a short sight. We aren't really set up on a short sight line, are we?
No, I probably should have been holding to the, like, basically where they are.
Right. And I get why you were scared. You were down people. You were trying to stall, trying to give space to let them come in so that your respawns would get back or be closer to getting back. But ultimately, you're just weaker by being here. And that doesn't really work for us. You needed them to sort of be scared to walk through because you were the more powerful brawl team, and we surrendered too much space here. And now, even if we're stalling for our person to come back, by the time our person is almost back, we're just on the weak side. Till we do that. Okay, Reaper, not quite enough.
Boosters engaged.
So we have shenanigans happening in here. This is just we're engaging too early. We go in here, our Doomfist goes in, our team simply can't follow that fast. And this is just, you know, we're not lined up on our engagement. We should organize for a retake. We've now swapped over to the Mei. That changes how we engage a little bit, but ultimately we're still looking to brawl with this team. We rotate in here. We're not going for a fancy boop. I think the fancy boop was right, and that wasn't the problem, but that's okay. And why are we afraid to walk on them? Like, I look at this, but this situation isn't going to get better. So we walked on this team. We're all here. Cool. We've lost health. We don't like that. Oh, we've lost health. Is this situation going to get better if we put our shield up and don't walk forward?
No.
Right. We just need to keep closing and brawl. Like, unless we're actually going to back all the way out to a place where we can stabilize for real, this doesn't help. This does not help. We need to keep walking forward, at which point our Mei will be able to wall and our Doomfist will be able to go in, and we just try to fight and brawl as hard as we can. You can't really stabilize here. Like, you can stabilize a little, but they're going to set up angles. We're going to try with our Mei wall. Have some back and forth. And that was an okay engage once we got to it. Ultimately, they won the fight, and sometimes that's going to happen. But now we've hopefully got time for one more. Again, I'd have preferred if, you know, we'd had some cross-angle threat. We'd had a D.Va, you know, going for the outside sweep, but that's okay. We go for this.
Should we have gone main here? Because, like, their comp of, like, Kree, Soldier, they've got long sightlines on us. I feel like maybe
it's not great. It's not great. I think you guys felt pressured by the time, though, to go this way. Like, I look at this and I go, hey, rotating hookah, yeah, probably is better for you guys. You could even rotate through their hookah if you had more time and be like, oh, wait, we don't like this, that sort of thing. But ultimately, you guys are pressured by the time to go this way, which is why I'm not, you know, shouting at you over it. And you've also got another thing going of, hey, we have the window, we might be the better poke team now. Now, the truth is they can drop their own window in return. This happens, I can live with the self-destruct, but I actually, again, would like that self-destruct to happen as we're walking at this team, and I'd probably like the self-destruct to more be behind them. But at least they got off the high ground for you. We're not really close enough. We get booped off of hitting that. Good. You've maybe got shots now. You definitely got shots now. Good. And ultimately, you're going to take the win there. Not through some amazing setup, but hey, you guys had some ult power, and in the fight, you wandered and you found some things. So that's fine. What I'd really want to talk about here, though, and what I think would make you guys the most better in terms of thinking about this, is synchronized aggression. Like, I would like you guys to be able to push together a little more consistently, and the real easy way to do that is to go, we're going to sort of shout our ults, and we're all going to own understanding that when people are shouting their ults, it usually means push. Like, if we're blizzarding, we probably want to push. If we are shattering, we probably want to push. Now, we might end up missing the shatter, but we needed to already be primed. We already sort of needed to be walking forward when our Reinhardt is saying shattering. Like, that should be causing us to react a third of a second faster, which is actually a lot more damage, a lot more work that we get done. Like, can you imagine if shatter lasted 30% longer? It's done.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. But what if we just reacted a third faster when we shattered? That would kind of be the same thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So, like, sometimes it's... Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Whenever we use something like wall, like whenever we call wall or like flash or something like that, or MR, should we call that and then we should use those as signs of aggression too, like you said earlier?
Yes, wall is
Okay, so
exactly that, a sign of aggression. Like, walling should basically be a go button. Like, we used our
okay.
wall, that's a go button. The only
Mhm.
time that's not a go button is if you're playing a Mei Mir and they hit the wall first. And you're still going to wall, but your wall at that point is sort of like a I'm keeping part of the aggression out, and you understand that you might have to use some more of your resources defensively rather than offensively. You might have to use your diva boosters, for example, to hop over and DM your own Reinhardt instead of, hey, I can, angle and hard, work on their Reinhardt. I'm really more interested in protecting my Reinhardt right now. But you guys want to practice hitting that wall first and then sort of going, we hit our wall, we go. We see their lamp first, we go because we know we still have our lamp. And even if our lamp comes out just a second later, we still know that we have the better lamp effectively. We have the better aggression, and we want to keep them on their heels, and they should break first because we use a slight advantage in one cooldown to get a slight advantage in the next cooldown, to get a slight advantage in the next cooldown. And if they ever don't answer with the right cooldowns, you just win. But if they do, you still beat them in 4 or 5 moves. Does that sort of make sense?
Yeah.
So, like,
So
go ahead.
I'm so sorry. I'm
Please.
cutting you off. So like 3 fights ago, probably, whenever you were telling me that I needed to push faster. If I wasn't doing this, by the way. I was just being stupid. But if I was doing it to like get some resources out, like get some cooldowns off, and then we pushed hard whenever like we go around the corner, and then after the cooldowns go off, we push hard. Would that be a smart idea, or should I just press W fully?
Do you mean when you say 3 fights ago, you don't mean down here, do you?
Yeah, I'm in right here. Whenever you, yeah, but like
Mm.
in the on the stairs. Whenever you were telling me
Yeah.
that I need to
So
go for it.
I don't love that, and the reason I don't love that is I don't think you can gather resources right here because I think this
Mhm.
team is going to shoot you from here and shoot you from here, and their positioning is too much better than yours. You follow what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, they're going to be taxing you health and Rhine Shield and DM. You're not really regaining resources if they can stop your Rhine Shield from regenerating and make you spend DM and potentially make
Yeah,
you spend
they're
amp to
making
heal
us.
yourselves.
Yeah, they're
Exactly.
making us use cooldowns too.
Now, you could be like, hey, we're a Rhine swinging into each other. I eliminate their Reinhardt, and now I stabilize. And you're still going to call it stabilizing, even though they're making you spend your Rhine shield down. But you're trading your Rhine shield for time that your team is healing you and time that your team is damaging them without them having a Rhine shield. So we'd still call that stabilizing. But generally, for like real stabilizing, you need to either have positioning that allows you to put more pressure on them than vice versa, or positioning that allows them to put basically no pressure on you. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So first thing, call ults. Understand what that means. Everyone should individually understand that that generally means push harder. Second thing, we've sort of gone through a brawl matchup cooldown cycle of like, if we hit a Mei wall, we want to push. If they lamp before we do, we want to push. If they Wraith Form or Ice Block or Diva Booster or Zarya Bubble, those are signs that they are now weaker, that their team is now weaker, and we want to walk on that team as long as we have our versions of those cooldowns. If they don't, we might need to fan out in a bit of a concave and protect ourselves, but if we have those, we should all already be on our toes, sort of springing forward in those situations to get our faster cleanups and to more decisively win together. We can be stupid together. We can int at them together. Like, no, inting at them together in Brawl is actually pretty powerful. Now, it's a lot more powerful when you get your cooldown cycling right, but if we can get your cooldown cycling somewhat right and we can get you inting together, you guys are going to be very powerful for the level of team that we're talking about here. The other big thing for this composition is please get your angle control. We talked about that. We talked about, hey, your Reinhardt pushing up on University there on the right side for the first fight. We talked about your McCree or your Hanzo taking off angles most of the time in those situations. And we also talked about defensive positionings in general. So we talked on University. Can anyone, this is going to be the last thing, can anyone just give me some sample positions of if we had control of this point and we were on our original comp or we're on the comp that we're on right now? Where might we set people up if we had control of point?
Pretty high ground for sure. Probably with the BAP.
Well,
Cree
we don't
high
even-
ground with the BAP. I can live with that. Where else might we put people? Who else where?
I would say I would probably push up to where May is right now.
Sounds good to me.
Um,
Where might our May hang out?
ooh.
I would say probably with Orion, so I can get a wall.
Could
Either
be.
with me or to the left of me. Like, or if I pushed up to the left of May and May stayed where she is, I feel like that would be
It could work. I'm probably going to push you here in reality, truth be told,
okay.
because you can't really stabilize here. You're just
Mhm.
going to get pressured. They can drain you. I'm probably going to
Mhm.
put you here, which means I'm probably just waving at them, shooting at them with May from here, or I'm shooting at them with May from here. And as they get closer, I might get closer to my Reinhardt and accept that I have to protect him a little bit more. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then I'm just probably putting my D.Va in the opposite position. If I put May here, I'm probably putting D.Va here. D.Va can do things. D.Va can go, hey, I micromanage back, that sort of thing. Can cast DM and can go in together with the team. Or I can obviously put D.Va right here. And then Lucio, this is easy. If our Ryan is here, we'll just default answer. Our Lucio is right here. Can go help bring our May in, can go help bring our D.Va in, whatever the case is. But that would sort of be positioning. And if you just have that as sort of your standard for engages when you have map control, again, you guys will just like automatically sort of end up winning fights and it'll be great. Okay. I'm going to wrap it up there in terms of what I wanted to show you guys, what I wanted to tell you guys based on what I saw here. I can take any questions, but I don't want to go too much longer here as this has been a long one and I don't want to fry your brains too much.
Sometimes I int whenever I charge. I had another pretty good player tell me that I should charge more.
Okay.
But like I need to decide when I can charge, when I can't charge, and I don't even know. I've charged probably like 3 times in this entire game. I don't understand. I think my biggest problem with Overwatch in general
Mhm.
is that in my head, like during the fray of a fight, I just don't know what the heck is going on. It's just like people are doing things and I'm just doing it on autopilot. It's like I'm not
Yep.
consciously thinking about it.
Yep, that's a problem. So one of the solutions to that is with time, you will get better at tracking where more people are and more things that are going on. And we're cheating that a little bit with comm callouts right now of, we got wall, no ice block, no wraith, things like that for they used
Yeah.
these things. We're cheating that a little bit to sort of give you some extra awareness and share the team's awareness. But the other answer to that question is you have to be pretty conscious of what you're working on and what you're trying to do. Like, as Reinhardt, you're pushing until you can't would sort of be the thing. Either I'm holding a corner to make them walk into me, or I'm walking at a team with my shield up, or walking to a new set of cover with my shield up, and I'm swinging at them, and if my health gets too low, I'm putting my shield up until I get healed and then swinging more and staying just inside or just outside swing range, but never further away than that. Or if my health goes down, I'm putting my shield up and rotating back out to cover. And that's sort of like how you drive Reinhardt at a very basic level. But like, you should always be going, am I rotating on an enemy? Am I swinging at an enemy? Or am I rotating out? And if I'm not doing, one of those things where I'm holding cover, I'm rotating an enemy, I'm rotating out, or I'm swinging, I'm not doing anything that makes sense. Like, which of these
Yeah.
am I doing? That should be it. And if you feel like you're just hanging out and not doing one of those things, well, you're wrong would be the answer.
All right.
Anyone else? Okay. Then I can call that there.